Now, this is a very difficult question to answer. How strong is Luffy without his Delphi ability? Yes, we have only seen Luffy with the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Actually, I mean the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, because it's a mythical Zoan, and I can't forget Wano revealed that. One Piece as a series is also just hard to power scale. This is why I made this channel Dripko, because I really want to power scale One Piece because it's going towards the end of the series. One of the biggest reasons why it's so hard to scale One Piece is because how much Oda loves to give the watchers and readers the interpretations. Like Mihawk's the greatest swordsman, but there's also the Haki beast Yonko Shanks. Who's stronger between them? They both use swords. Or Kaido, like not being awakened, but Rob Lucci being awakened recently in the One Piece content. So it's very confusing to say the least. Now, don't get me started with Haki, because that's even more complicated with certain characters. Cough, useless kid. And before I get deep into this, I have seen the whole he's pre-time skip level. Many people think Luffy without his Delphi ability is pre-time skip level, like Luffy with gear 2nd, Luffy with gear 3rd. No, Luffy has used 7 different variations of Haki, and Haki wasn't even a thing pre-time skip. We're keeping it all the way honest, including the voice of all things. You could even say 8 variations of Haki, and he is one-shotting himself before the time skip. Now, of course, in chapter 431, we see Garp punch Luffy, which of course affects him. He wasn't made of rubber when Garp punched him because of the fist of love. And I do gotta talk about chapter 432, the next chapter. We see Garp, how he trained Luffy by nearly killing him so many times, throwing him in jungles and over the cliffs and whatnot. And Sanji's like, now we see where Luffy gets his endless life force, because Luffy's always getting back up. We even see that in Enies lobby against Rob Lucci. Chapter 544, where Blackbeard takes Luffy's Delphi power away with his Yami Yami no Mi and slams him into the ground. That's a human Luffy getting slammed to the ground. Even Crocodile was like, whoa, there's blood? Where's this coming from? But he was still active after Blackbeard did that. So Luffy's durability without his Delphi ability is still there. His Delphi obviously amplifies that, but he still has a decent amount of durability, because Blackbeard is the same character who almost broke Ace's neck during their battle, and he also scarred Shanks when he had no Yami Yami no Mi. So definitely want to think that Blackbeard's power scaling is also a question to be asked for another video, but just know that Blackbeard could have been the 2nd division commander without no Delphi ability, but of course he let Ace get that position. Speaking of Marshall D. Teach, in the exact same chapter, he talks about how Luffy's gotten stronger since the last time he saw him, and even says his Haki has gotten stronger. Keep in mind, Luffy really hasn't showcased any Haki pre-time skip. Very little moments of him showcasing Haki, so truly showing that Blackbeard was impressed with Luffy's growth even pre-time skip, before he has become a monster since the current story and him being a Yonko. Also, for the people in the comment section saying this might be a stupid video because it has no value, and a year ago I would actually agree with these comments, but there's 2 characters who have made this concept very, very interesting. The first character is Kaido. Kaido, during his battle with Luffy, talks about how just because you have a strong Delphi power doesn't mean anything, and even speaks about Goldie Roger having no Delphi power and becoming the top pirate, all based off of Haki. Key word there is Haki. Then there's Blackbeard, whose Delphi ability is pretty much nullifying Delphi users, seeing Delphi users in their natural habitat. We saw with Ace, and now we're gonna see it probably with Law in their battle, as a 3 billion berry man, Worst Generation character Law goes up against the 3.9 billion berry Yonko Blackbeard. So yeah, these 2 characters really made me think it's a relevant concept. Before the time skip, it was a specific Delphi ability that really was a thorn to the main character's side, and that was a Logia Delphi ability. Of course, he took out guys like Crocodile, guys like Enel, but those were because of counters. But we've seen characters like Smoker, of course, where he couldn't do nothing against Smoker, and Smoker's not even that powerful in the grand scheme of things. I do want to say this, characters like Aokiji, Kizaru, and especially Akainu showcased to Luffy that it pretty much humbled Luffy that a measly water, of course, or rubber is not going to counter these Logia Delphi ability, and you need something else, and that something was conquers Haki. Just recently, we've seen the story of legends with Kazuki Oden, who had many feats growing up. The feats were mind-boggling to say the least, showcasing his power. And of course, we saw that all to fruition when he finally clashed with Whitebeard in that conquers Haki clash, or when he went up against Goldie Roger, and Goldie Roger did the Divine Departure, advanced conquers Haki move, named attack by the Pirate King, and he still was willing to fight back after getting hit by that. And arguably, let's be honest here, he could have defeated Kaido in their battle if there was not for interruption. I'm not saying he was 100% going to beat Kaido, but definitely was a sway in the battle when he got interrupted and distracted. And Kaido even knows that himself when he loses that when Luffy gets distracted. So do want to say this Kaido is the same character that put Kazuki on in the category of 5 characters he compared to Luffy that were able to damage him, that are able to actually not even damage him, able to fight him, like Whitebeard in his prime, like Red Hair Shanks, like Rox D. Zebek, his former captain, and the Pirate King Goldie Roger. Of course, there are living legends who don't really have a Duffel ability, like Shanks, who can stop a whole war during Marineford War with all those hungry dogs there, especially the red dog Akainu with the highest offensive Duffel power, and took off half of Whitebeard's head, the world's strongest man. To put it into context, Blackbeard, who recently acquired Whitebeard's Gurgur no Mi, the strongest Paramecia Duffel ability, with his Yami Yami no Mi, the strongest Logia Duffel ability, was actually pursued by Akainu right after the war and didn't want to no smoke with Akainu, showcasing that Akainu not doing anything in Marineford was a big deal. Just recently, we seen Shanks have Green Bull, an admiral who just took out Calamities, and we're talking trash to the Calamities, talking down on their power scaling, saying a measly power top young commanders can't take me out, I'm an admiral. Fought the entire Red Scabbards with, of course, Yamato, who wasn't going all out, but Momonosuke there too, with Momonosuke's replica of Kaido's Duffel ability. And let's be honest here, he was trembling in fear with that Conqueror's Haki blast by Red Hair Shanks, and actually left Wano because of Shanks. Another living legend is, of course, the world's greatest swordsman, Dracul Mihawk, who elevated Buggy to Yonko status, and we're keeping it all the way real, with, of course, Mihawk now's bounty being reached higher than, of course, 2 Yonkos in Luffy and Buggy, and of course the 2 captains who just took out Big Mom in Eustace Kid and Law. Mihawk is no joke and is well respected in the One Piece verse. I could even also say the vice captain to the Pirate King, Silver's Rayleigh, who fought Kizaru and Admiral toe-to-toe in his old age, and also made Blackbeard escape Amazon Lily. Though Rayleigh does admit that Blackbeard would probably beat him in a battle in the current story, still Blackbeard showcased a lot of respect to the reputation of Rayleigh when it comes to his power and ability. And last but certainly not least, when it comes to living legends who don't have Duffel abilities, the hero of the Marines, the grandfather to Luffy, who defeated Roxy Zebek with the help of Goldie Roger. Of course, Roxy Zebek is a character who led Prime Whitebeard, Big Mom, Shiki, and Apprentice, younger Kaido. Of course, you do gotta mention that he was able to take on Goldie Roger, the Pirate King, toe-to-toe many times, and Roger himself saying they almost killed each other multiple times. But not even looking at living legends, of course we can look at the strongest crew members of Monkey D. Luffy, the character we're talking about today, when it comes to the future legends in Rono, Zoro, Sanji, and of course Jinbei, with all bounties over 1 billion berries, and they all have no Duffel ability, yo. Now looking at Luffy as a character, in chapter 886, he goes at it with, of course, Katakuri, the vice captain to Big Mom, and speaks about how Haki runs out as you fight in battle, as long as you use it, and Katakuri's observation Haki is going to go down, but then thinks back on Rayleigh and talks about the advancement of Haki happens in battles with stronger opponents, and goes along to say that the more stronger you fight, the stronger you become. And Luffy wants to see the future. He wants Katakuri's ability of observation Haki to the advancement and wants to surpass Katakuri. And that is why Luffy, without a Duffel ability, will still be a monster, because of that mentality we've seen in chapter 886. For the first time, we see Luffy, you see the future after reminiscing on Rayleigh's words. Luffy takes a lot of pain to get stronger. So that's why I truly believe without a Duffel ability, Luffy would still be a beast in the One Piece verse. Now, when it comes to power scaling Luffy without his Duffel, the easiest thing to do is look at the 3 advanced Haki that Luffy currently has. Now I'm gonna bypass the basic Haki that Luffy has when it comes to Conqueror's Haki, Armament Haki, and of course Observation Haki, because we've seen many characters, strong or weak, all have these abilities post time skip, like Rebecca during Dressrosa with her Observation Haki, or Peckham's during Fishman Island with his Armament Haki when taking out Caribou, or even Chinjao in the Coliseum with his Conqueror's Haki. So these are not really that impressive when it comes to power scaling at the top level in the One Piece verse. And you might be also shocked, but I'll also be bypassing the advanced Armament Haki known as Ryo, the one where pretty much you're not really touching the opponent. And yes, it was a major key in beating Kaido in the final attack, but I think that was truly situational, and characters like Marigold and Kawamatsu have also used this, even Sentomaru. So I think it's not fair to scale Luffy to this advancement of Armor Haki, because of pretty much you can scale those other characters on a weaker scale. So truly I want to look at the other 3 advanced Hakis. Now advanced Armor Haki 2, the internal damage Haki, is a step above the first advanced Haki when it comes to Ryo, and was used against Kaido when Luffy did Red Rock, and pretty much was the reason why Kaido was tripping and saying Luffy is on the same scale as characters like Shanks, Roger, Whitebeard, of course Kozuki, Odin, and Rocks D. Zebek. That Red Rock attack definitely knocks some sense into Kaido because of his advanced Armor Haki 2, the internal damage. We've even seen Luffy and Rayleigh as shown to be the only characters able to use this in the current story. That's of course there's other characters who can use it, but they're the only ones who were able to use it. So there's not really weak characters that we've known to use it. So it's a really good thing to scale Monkey D. Luffy's offense without adulthood ability. Then there's advanced Observation Haki, and we've seen, of course, the mastery of Katakuri. Katakuri as a character has mastered Observation Haki with his Future Sight, and of course other characters who can use it are Luffy, who Luffy does use Future Sight really well, and then there's Kaido, who's probably the worst at using Future Sight when it comes to the 3 characters who have used it in the story. But honestly, they've all used it proficiently and really good in battle. The weakest characters who have advanced Conqueror's Haki are Kaido's son or daughter, whatever you want to call Yamato. I'm confused with the whole fan base debate on this, but Yamato, of course, and of course the vice captain to the future Pirate King Rono Zoro when he used advanced Conqueror's Haki in Ashura against Kaido. It really is Armament Haki, advanced Armament Haki on steroids. That's how I see it. And if you're not a Conqueror, you are nerfed because you can't use advanced Conqueror's Haki. But truly, this is probably the best way to scale Luffy, because the weakest characters are Yamato and Zoro. And Yamato and Zoro are in no right weak as characters. We see their power scaling, and that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. So now it's time to truly look at Luffy without double ability and see where he would lie in the One Piece verse. And the first character I want to scale Luffy to is Katakuri. Katakuri, of course, is the vice captain to an emperor and is really powerful, a bounty over 1 billion berries. And I think without a Delphoid ability, Luffy would win based of all the things he has. His advancement of Haki is counteracting Katakuri's Future Sight and Awakening. Now, Katakuri's Observation Haki and Awakening are really impressive, but Luffy has advanced Conqueror's Haki and advanced Armor Haki to 2 levels, plus he has advanced Observation Haki with Future Sight. Yeah, I think honestly Luffy without Delphoid ability would still be stronger than Katakuri. Then the other characters I really want to scale Luffy to is, of course, Yamato. Yamato, of course, is a mythical Zoan user with advanced Conqueror's Haki, and I want to scale Luffy without Delphoid ability to Yamato. And let's be honest here, Yamato did clash with Kaido pretty well on the rooftop, but I also believe the fact that Luffy has Future Sight, which Yamato has never been shown to use, and Luffy has advancement of Armament Haki and advancement of Observation Haki, plus Luffy has advancement of Conqueror's Haki, which I think is better than Yamato's usage. I think Luffy would be able to overcome Yamato in a battle, truly. So last but certainly not least, I think the strongest of the characters I'm about to scale Luffy to is Zoro. Zoro has been able to use advanced Conqueror's Haki and was able to scar the strongest creature alive. And of course Zoro with Enma. Big Mom is telling Kaido to dodge. Enma has Ryo advancement of Armor Haki to that sword, and Zoro is even able to cut Kaido scales, confirming that Zoro has advanced Armor Haki. I think Luffy truly, with all his Haki advancements, because he's able to do advanced Conqueror's Haki better than Zoro, because he's able to do advanced Armor Haki better than Zoro, And because he's able to have advancement of Observation Haki to see the future against Zoro, Luffy, in my opinion, without a Delphi ability, would be slightly above Zoro power scaling wise. So to answer the video, Luffy without a Delphi fruit, I honestly believe right now in the current story in Egghead Island, if we stripped Luffy of his Delphi ability, he would still be top 10 in the One Piece verse. For a more general statement, I think Luffy would be around the same level of the admirals in the One Piece verse. I think Luffy would be able to take out every single vice captain to a Yonko without a Delphi ability. And honestly, I think he would be around admiral level. You could even say he could be around the same level as Zoro, but I think he's slightly stronger than Zoro. But honestly, this is going to be a very controversial video because I'm really just power scaling Luffy to 3 characters: Yamato, of course, Katakuri, and Zoro, because these are the guys with the weakest advancement of Haki when it comes to advancement of Armor Haki 2, advancement of Conqueror's Haki, and advancement of Observation Haki. And that's why I think they're really good to scale Luffy without Delphi ability too. And that's why I truly believe this is the best way to make sure we know if Luffy is still a powerhouse without his Delphi ability. But that's pretty much it. Of course, turn on notification because there's going to be a video coming out this next week. And just drop down your thoughts on this video, guys. I'm out of here.